Hi and welcome to June's update from the Teagasc Pig Research Facility. In the last update, I suppose I would have talked about basically some of the production parameters around the unit, and I kind of said how maybe in June we would look at a 6-month review. I suppose looking at that now, we might wait till the end of June when we'll have the full 6-month figures across the board to review things in. So the areas we'll just cover in that review will be, say, our carcass weight range year to date, the end of June, our transfer weights, our weaning weights, and our kind of average born alive figures over those first half year parameters. So just coming back to the unit now, we are in weaning week this week in our 3-week batch system. So pigs are going out at the present. We're weaning about 350 pigs. We would have seen our born alive come back a small bit over the last 3 farrowings. We're back to around 15 on average for those 3 farrowings now, and so there's a consequential reduction in pre-weaning mortality. We are seeing no real issues with the sows in gestation, pregnancy or anything like that. We have some issues with kind of lengthy farrowings over the last while that we're currently conducting some kind of investigative work into to see what might come out of that over the next while, but there's no knock-on effect on animals coming into heat or serving, or as I said, pregnancy or farrowing rates. Our farrowing rate year to date I think is still around 92%. So that's quite good. We look at that more closely in the review in 3 weeks' time. Piglet performance is equally still good. Our weaning weights are around the 8.3, 8.5 mark for the year. I mentioned, I think in the update probably 6 weeks, 6 weeks ago at this stage, that we had a very good performing sow, and that we were going to review her progeny, which were quite fast growing pigs. So I think they're due to transfer over to the finisher building next week, so maybe at the end of June we'll look at how those pigs are performing as well from that. So moving on out into the finishers then, things are going well there. Growth rates are quite good. Probably have caught up a bit on where we were on the start of the year. Our carcass weight is definitely up a couple of kilos now on kind of January, February's performance. Still selling at 22.5 weeks. And we're probably north of 90 kilos for the last couple of months. I suppose that's kind of a review of the production side of things. Looking quickly at the research side of the house, we still have 2 very busy experiments going on in the farrowing house, looking at split suckling and use of analgesics, and also a comparison of hygiene states and power washing standards there. So they're still ongoing. We have the baby feed, the shower baby feed automatic milk feeding system to start in July. So I'll talk a bit more about that in the next review as well. So that's ready to go for a test run in the middle of July, and that will be starting experiments in August. In the weaner side of the things too, we have moved some of those farrowing house trials into the weaner stage already, and the start of those are going to be progressing over to the finishers soon, the first replicates of those experiments. The wet feed is halfway through its experiment at the moment, which is looking at feeding splits versus, say, feeding blocks or feeding splits in blocks of time, and that is due to finish up shortly after the August bank holiday weekend, so that's coming up to the midway run there. And we still have our mixing experiment in our standard finisher accommodation here, which would be comparison of intact litters of weaning versus mixed litters of weaning, versus, say, mixing a transfer and based on different energy diets being fed to those treatments as well. So I suppose that's a very quick recap on the unit over the last number of weeks. As I said, hopefully at the end of June we'll have a more thorough look at the production figures for the kind of half year to date parameters that I discussed earlier. So until then, bye.